This video is sponsored by PotonStore.com, the best place to get yourself some TCG code cards. They are compatible with TCG Live, and you can of course get everything on the website for 5% off using the coupon code ZAPDOISTCG. This video is also sponsored by cardmarket.com. This is a European platform where you're able to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. I personally use it every single day, and you can do it as well. And you can use the referral name ZAPDOISTCG to help support the channel. This video is also sponsored by yourplaymat.com. This is a platform where you're able to, of course, create your own custom playmat. They have, of course, capabilities to ship worldwide, and you can get 10% off by clicking the link down below. So definitely check it out. Last but not least is Dragon Shield, the best brand to protect your beautiful cards. You can of course there's links down below for US and European people, and you can of course get your best quality sleeves available, as well as deck boxes and binders. Thanks so much for sticking around with the commercials. I hope you enjoyed today's upload. If you do, be sure to let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button, and let's get this video going. You all thought that the rats were gone, but Zap is here to prove you all wrong. The Paradox Rift is about to get ripped. Prepare yourself for the lyrics I spit. So Iron Hands is kind of insane. 2 prize cards, it speeds up the game. Lost box counter, Jirachi's to blame. The battle shapes up, it'll never be the same. Evolve and devolve with technical machines. Last one shot with Gholdengo the dream, or use that Iron Valiant the meme. Yeah, he can win on turn 1 it seems. Xatu gives us ton of energy. Drawing your deck, it's really crazy. So much chase cause you gotta believe. A big Sada leaves an impact you see. Yes, the top 10, or actually top 20 best cards of the new Paradox Rift set. Subscribe and like for more content. Sup YouTube, it's ZAPDOISTCG here, and welcome back to our TCG video on my channel. On this channel you get daily Pokemon TCG uploads, so be sure to hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel so you don't miss out. Today we're going to be beginning our exploration of the Paradox Rift set. The pre-release has actually already started this weekend, which is actually insane. So the new set releases officially on November 3rd, so that's only in 2 weeks time we're gonna be having access to these cards, and then 2 weeks after that we will have, of course, a big tournament that have Paradox Rift legal. So if you're enjoying the content I'm pushing out, let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button, so I know I need to make more Paradox Rift content. With that being said, today we're going to be talking about the top 20 best cards from Paradox Rift. I have seen the set list. We were able to check out all the cards from the set, and this is my personal top 20 best cards. If your opinion is different, let me know in the comment section why you would be including or excluding specific cards so we can get a discussion started. But these are 20 cards that actually will have impact in the competitive scene. And as you all know, I'm a competitive Pokemon TCG player, trying to, of course, get the best information to you guys so you guys can do well at tournaments. And with that being said, let's start off with number 20 with the gorgeous Mantle. I think in English it's called a luxury mantle. If I luxurious, meh, it's something else, but it's a mantle, and it actually is gonna allow you to turn your 1 prize Pokemon into 2 prize Pokemon by giving them 100 additional HP. So it states, if the Pokemon this card is attached to does not have a rule box, so no Radiant Pokemon, no V Pokemon, no EX Pokemon, just a regular 1 prize Pokemon, you can equip this to them, and then they will get 100 additional HP. But when they are knocked out by damage from the opponent's Pokemon, your opponent takes 1 prize card more. So pretty much you turn yourself a 1 prizer into a 2 prizer. Very specific, that states when it's knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon. So damage counters, I don't know how that interaction will go. Maybe the judges will have to clarify on that. But can you imagine Snorlax block with 250 HP? Yeah, not even the Arceus will be, or as an example, be able to one-shot a Snorlax, and then you can still trap Pokemon in the active position with that block ability. So decks like that will just enjoy gorgeous Mantle. Even though you do give up 2 prize cards when a Snorlax finally hits the discard pile, you can penny loop this, which is insane. On top of that, you could also turn like Torterra, the rogue 1 prize deck, into a 290 HP monster. So with, of course, the Evo press, you slap more damage for every evolution you have in play. But the cool thing is, this Torterra almost always gets knocked out by an opponent's V Pokemon or an EX Pokemon. But this time around, you put that gorgeous Mantle on it, 100 additional HP. And that's going to be ridiculous. There's a lot more things we can discover with this gorgeous Mantle. But it's a very great tool card that will see its play in specific decks from time to time. Number 19 is Klawf, if I pronounce that correctly. Klawf? Yeah, Klawf is what we're going with. So it is here for the Hysterical Scissors attack. 30 damage if this Pokemon is affected by a special condition. This attack does 160 more damage. Insane. That means with 2 colorless energies, you slap 190 damage for a basic Pokemon. That's crazy. Well, it doesn't stop there because you can get this attack off with 1 attachment with the double turbo energies. Don't bother about using those pickaxes and all that to power it up. Clawful is going to be a great way to counter against specific lightning decks. Think about Miraidon, think about Iron Hands, think about like all the Pokemon like Arceus being weak to fighting. You can now get this attack off, turn 1 going second. DTE, but the only specification here is that it needs to be affected by a special condition, and that's where the Spicy Seasoned Curry comes in. That is a card, I think it's from Astral Radiance if I'm not mistaken, allows you to burn yourself while healing 40 damage. So you heal 40 and then you are burned, which is cool because then you're affected by a special condition, meaning that you can now resort to the Hysterical Scissors attack, slapping a ridiculous amount of damage. And yeah, just for a 1 prize Pokemon that will actually leave its way. So it's gonna be fantastic to just draw, and maybe it's gonna be a fantastic 1 prize rogue deck using 4 Klawf together with Super Rod or whatever. But this is strong, like with double turbo energy you can get it off. A Raihan attachment can also do the job. Just slapping, like let's say 190 damage minus the 20 from double turbo is 170, enough to 2-shot VMAX Pokemon, enough to 1-shot specific Pokemon like Lumineon. So I think Clawful does see its way in specific situations, so I put it here on the number 19 slot. Number 18, Snorlax Doll. The first time I looked at this card I was like, no, is this Clefairy's Pokédoll on steroids? Well, kind of. It is still going to be a doll that doesn't give up any prize card. And the only way you're able to slap down Snorlax as a basic Pokemon is if this Pokemon, if this card is in your hand, when you are setting up for play, you may put it face down in the active spot or on your bench as if it were a 120 HP colorless Pokemon. Yeah, you can do this only when you are setting up for play. That's the only requirement it has. You have to have them in the opening hand. So if you're playing 4, sometimes you don't even get use of the Snorlax Doll entirely. But at any given point, you can discard it from play. So whatever is in the active in the bench, you can just discard it from play. And it also cannot be affected by special conditions. And if the opponent knocks it out, they cannot take a prize card. So pretty much a very big doll Pokemon. Very cool that it has 120 HP, meaning that it actually is not knocked out by Spit Innocently from a Cramorant, for example. And it only works when you are setting up. Reminds me a little bit of the Talonflame back in the ways of Steam Siege, if I'm not mistaken. So only works in your opening hand. Sometimes you want to be having, you could be making decks, for instance, with 4 Snorlax Doll, not a single basic Pokemon in there, and play a fossil deck. That can now become a thing. With Snorlax Doll, you can make your fossil deck, and you always will start with Snorlax Doll because Snorlax Doll will be the only Pokemon that you can have in your opening hand that you can start with. So that's an example. You can also see this working out as some sort of a control deck. If you're playing 4, if you're able to set 1 up, you buy yourself like that 7 prize game eventually, because the opponent will eventually have to knock out the Snorlax block. Actually, the Snorlax Doll, otherwise they will not proceed into the game. You can combine that with Crushing Hammer, Spat to the Peak, Judge, all that shenanigans. But it's basically a Pokemon that doesn't give up a prize card, but only works in your opening hand. That's why I put it so low on the list. I thought it was going to be better, but it only works in your opening hand. That's what makes the cards very limited to use. Number 17 is going to be the Iron Valiant EX, a future card. As mentioned in this set, we get future and ancient cards, which have the logo printed on them below the HP. So you know it's a future or an ancient card, and they will work together with specific items and supporters, etc. So that's already getting that out of the way. So pretty much it resembles Rapid Strike, Single Strike, and Fusion Strike. Those were also logos that were put below the HP of the Pokemon. Now we know this is a future card, so we're going to be having combinations that work with it. It is having a very funky ability. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to the active slot, put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. We're going to be making a donking deck with Iron Valiant. And no, sometimes it will be a meme deck, but let's just imagine the format right now. How many low HP Pokemon are there, and how many Pokemon players will actually set up 2 Pokemon when they set up? just because of the fact Escape Rope is in the format and it's played in a lot of top tier decks. People will just have one Pokemon in the active slot, that's it. That could be a Rolls, 70 HP. That could be a Comfey, 70 HP. That could be a Charmander, 70 HP. That could be a whole lot other. That could be a Pidgey, 50 HP or 60 HP, depending on which version you're playing. There's so many. There could be a Frigiback, 60 HP. So my point is clear. A lot of decks are playing low HP Pokemon, right? So if they happen to start with a low HP Pokemon, you're going to be able to donk them if you play this Iron Valiant EX donking deck. So pretty much the main plan is you play some Hisuian Heavy Ball, so you make sure you can get all of them from the prize cards. If they happen to be prized, you play the item card that searches for 2 future Pokemon. More on that later. And then you circle around with the means of Switch, Escape Rope, Switch card. Even play some Pokestops to find these kind of Pokemon cards, so you can just circle around some Iron Valiants, and it only works once during your turn when it's Pokemon, so it actually stacks. So for every Iron Valiant that moves its way to the active position, 2 damage counters. So you will need to have 4 in combination to put 8 damage counters on the opponent's active Pokemon and then donk them instantly while they will not be able to play the game. On the flip side, if you happen to be going second, the opponent probably will have already slapped down a basic Pokemon, and then this strategy goes down the drain. So it's a YOLO deck, maybe for best of one, but yeah, this is a funky deck, and as soon as they know you have the capability to donk, they will slap down another Pokemon. But sometimes the opening hand doesn't give them another Pokemon, and they will be left with 1 Pokemon. So it's going to be the donking deck. It's going to be fun to be playing around that on TCG Live eventually. So also comes back with an attack, 200 damage. Not the craziest attack in the world, and let's be honest, it's going to be here for its ability, which can definitely could also help specific decks out there that are already playing a lot of switch outs. You can have this maybe in I'll give an example here. You're playing Lost Mine. You can put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon and then Lost Mine, so technically you have 14 damage counters to work with. And since you're playing so many switch outs, that could be the thing you could do. So yeah, more uses of the Iron Valiant EX. I wonder if it's going to be that good. For now, 17 slot for me. Number 16 is Mewtwo EX Terraform. Again, the Terraform prevents all damage done to this Pokemon if it's on the bench. That's on the top of half of the card. But it's here for its Photon Kinesis attack. 10 damage plus 30 more for every Psychic Energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So pretty much you can start swinging with this basic Pokemon with 230 HP. And instead of like using Zacian V, which will rotate shortly, you can rely on Mewtwo EX. Not only do you have type coverage against stuff like Lugia, for instance, you can also slap some Palkias around here and there. But the cool thing is, this actually doesn't work with Psychic Embrace, but if you manually attach onto a Mewtwo EX, or if you play 1 copy of Raihan in your Gardevoir deck, you can get it to work. So Mewtwo, Raihan, attachment, and Photon Kinesis slaps a ridiculous amount of damage without downsides. You don't have to damage yourself. You're Lightning type, and the opponent will have to deal with Mewtwo. And while all your energies are actually on the board ready for some more attacks, maybe you have in the back waiting something like a Shining Arcana Gardevoir, for instance. This could be a crazy one-off, but also could become its own deck with the Xatu. I'm going to be talking about Xatu shortly in this video, but it actually puts Psychic Energies in play. Also, its first attack, Trance Charge, attaches up to 2 basic Psychic Energies from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way that you like. So you can charge itself up. If you go first, actually, if it's your first turn and you go second, you can actually use this attack to power it up. Could sometimes become useful, because a lot of decks are not doing a lot on their first turn. Maybe some Spit Innocently here and there, but that's about it. Number 15 is Roaring Moon EX. This, in first glance, looks pretty powerful, right? It has 230 HP, being weak to grass. Nobody plays grass. We have the Frenzied Gogging. Knock out your opponent's active Pokemon. If your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out in this way, you put 200 damage onto yourself. We will get a tool card to get more HP for ancient Pokemon, and also you survive a hit, which is the most important factor. On the other hand, you're weak to the weakest amounts of attacks. Even a Frigibax could knock you out, as a little bit example, because you have like only 30 HP remaining, which is kind of ridiculous. So yeah, you're probably gonna get Revenge KO, but the cool thing is you can snap opponents. How cool is the Star Requiem attack of Giratina V-Star? It's very awesome to use, right? Well, how about Amazing Rare Yveltal back in the days of the Silver Tempest Lugia deck? Well, now you have a one-shot machine once again. How can you power this up? With Dark Patch, with the new Professor, which we're going to be talking about later, as well as Raihan. So Dark Patch is in the format, Raihan is in the format, the new Professor is in the format to power up on ancient Pokemon. So you will be able to get this attack off on your very first turn if you go second to knock something out instantly, which will be hilariously fun. Because could this be something that the Darkrai V-Star was missing to actually become great? Or will people be playing Roaring Moon EX with some baby Galarian Moltres in there for the late game attackers? Who knows? Its second attack is also not too bad. You may discard a Stadium and play if you do 220. So you have a 220 attack for 3 energies, or you have a one-shot. So this is a great card. Currently putting it at the 15 slot because you need a lot, right? You need energy acceleration, dark patch, etc. And I don't know if this Pokemon will find its way in the meta because it's a 2-price deck and there's a lot of 1-price shenanigans going around. If we're taking a look at it like Lost Zone, if we're taking a look at, of course, the other 1-price decks, actually I have 1-price focus Pokemon is like the fantastic Shining Arcana Gardevoir. There's also ways, if this only had like 30 HP remaining, something like a Radiant Greninja could also finish it off. So I have my questions about this card, but maybe it can become better in the future. Get it? It's an ancient card, but it will become better in the future. Pun intended. Number 14 is going to be our first technical machine. There's going to be technical machines coming in Paradox Rift, and they all come with unique things. There's one that accelerates energies. There's one, for instance, this one, the Devolution one. I think this is going to be a very powerful one. Devolve each of your opponent's evolved Pokemon by putting the highest stage evolution card into your opponent's hand. So this is very good for Lost Zone decks. Radiant Greninja, 90-90, then Lost Zone a little bit, and then out of nowhere, you devolve everything, and then everything gets knocked out. That's the dream scenario for this technical machine. It is, however, the tool card, so you cannot find it with Pokestop. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to use Arven to find something like that, or just randomly draw into it, or maybe just play 2 copies and just draw into it with Comphase and Colorless Experiment. Also, decks that rely on rare candy sometimes can run out of options. I'm giving an example. If you're up against a Baxcalibur deck, they thrown away like, let's say 2 candies, they have 1 Baxcalibur, you devolve it, the game ends, right? Because they will not be able to use another candy, because their candies are gone. You see where we're going with this? If you devolve Pokemon that resort on rare candy, the rare candy is gone and they cannot recover the rare candy. Same goes against stuff like the Charizard deck, or the Pidgeot. If you devolve, it's going to be fantastic. So this is a very strong card. Currently pulling it at the 14 slot because I think Lost Box will have a very rough path ahead of them with some more powerful cards later in the list. Number 13 is going to be Professor Turo Scenario. Put 1 Pokemon into your hand. Discard all cards attached to it. It's pretty much AZ back in the day. So also Penny is very similar, but Penny only works for basic Pokemon, but Penny does pick up the energies and the tool cards. So Penny is way better, but for evolution Pokemon, let's say you have a very tanky VMAX Pokemon, yeah, you can put your Pokemon into your hand. So you can actually say, oh, my VMAX almost knocked out. Nope, guess again, I have it in my hand. So just as we gotten to know with stuff like Chair and Scare as well, this could be working out with big tanky VMAXs to keep them alive time and time again with Palpad. You see where we're going. There's also Cheryl. You might debate like, isn't Cheryl better than Professor Turo for evolution Pokemon? I don't know. It seemed like an interesting card that eventually will see play. You can also put a Pokemon like support Pokemon, for instance. Luminion, Squawkabilly, but Penny is way more useful for that. So there's ways that Professor Turo might never see play because of Penny and gets outclassed, but you never know. Putting it here on the number 13 slot because an effect like that has historically been good in the TCG. Number 12 is going to be another technical machine, this time around Evolution. Choose up to 2 of your bench Pokemon. For each of those, search your deck for a Pokemon that evolves from that Pokemon, put it on that Pokemon. I think this is a very strong effect to get into the game. Just because Lost Zone is around, that sprinkles around on your weak HP Pokemon. Think about Glimigoo, your lower basic Pokemon that evolves into Gholdengo EX eventually. More on Gholdengo EX later down in the video, but if you have 50 HP Pokemon on your bench sitting, it's going to be turning out badly. So what you could do, just to protect yourself from Radiant Greninja or whatever, you could be using this Evolution Technical Machine, play it with Arven, VIP Pass, and Technical Machine. So instantly you can do it, equip it to your active, and evolve your Pokemon. You're good to go. Arven combinations with this Evolution, I see working out 2 Evolution Technical Machines in combination with 4 Arven and whatever, maybe even Luminion to just ensure that you get it. So you instantly can evolve your Pokemon. This could be great for decks like Meowscarada that wants to have a lot of like Meowscarada EXs by turn 2. This could be a nice way to power yourself up. So interesting for sure, and it will be giving like rewarding people that have experience with deck building. Number 11 is going to be Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. Wow, that's a mouthful. The Ancient Pokemon, this card is attached to get 60 additional HP and recovers from all special conditions. And it cannot be affected by special conditions anymore. So If you're up against a random Venomoth deck, this will not work because you're item locked. Yeah, but anyhow, you can make sure sometimes there's going to be paralysis in the format that happens from time to time. We've seen it before in formats. Ionopath and then paralyzation could ever become a thing once again, but this can recover special conditions, but more importantly, 60 additional HP. Think about Sandy Shocks, which is actually a pretty okay-ish card. Didn't include it in the list here, but yeah, it is an okay card that can accelerate energies to itself. If the opponent has fewer prize cards remaining. Combination with the Professor that accelerates energies, it could be okay, I guess, but getting 60 additional HP on an ancient Pokemon will definitely be great. Think about your Roaring Moon getting like 290 HP. Now we're talking. So 60 additional HP. I don't know if it's better than just having a Bravery Charm that universally works on your low HP Pokemon as well, but yeah, this is for ancient Pokemon. Number 10 is going to be Garchomp EX. This is one crazy Pokemon. At first glance, I saw look at this card, like, doesn't it like need more energies? Nope. Hydrolander slaps 160 damage, and you can attach 3 basic fighting energies from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon any way you like. So, even though it's a stage 2, you have Irida. Stage 2 water-type Pokemon are good because of Irida. Get the Candy, get the Garchomp, boom, you have it. So you don't need a lot to get this deck going, and then afterwards you have Cheryl, you just attach, you set up Pokemon energies from the discard pile to your other Garchomp, and you just go in circles. Hydrolander, Retreat, Hydrolander, Cheryl, just the back in the days of the Blaziken Rapid Strike deck also was something similar. This is actually great, and also you can discard 2 energies from this Pokemon, and you can snipe 120 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So if they don't have Manaphy, pew pew pew, you can start sniping with that Sonic Dive. I think this is an underrated card for now. It could become higher. It's a very interesting, it has stats, right? And if you can combine it with some one-price fighting Pokemon that needs a lot of energies, this could be the charm here. Garchomp EX. Number 9 is going to be the Earthen Vessel. Professor's Ladder, but with a downside. You have to discard a card from the hand first, and then you can search your deck for 2 basic energies and reveal them and put them in the hand. This will be used in a whole plethora of decks. You could be using this most importantly in Baxcalibur. You use this, you get 2 water energies. Even though you have cards like chien-pao that can get water energies from the deck, you can now be combining Baxcalibur with something like Iron Hands, for example, where you use Earthen Vessel to get a lightning energy and the water energy, then you accelerate the water energies to the means of the super cold ability of Baxcalibur and then manual attachment of the lightning energy. Very, very strong, this Earthen Vessel, and will become, will this put chien-pao as a tier 1 deck with the Iron Hands deck? We'll have to figure it out. Another way I could see this working out is in Gholdengo. Gholdengo, more on that later, but it needs energies in hand, and this can search them out. So I think it's a strong card. Number 9 for me, for now. Number 8 is going to be Gholdengo itself. Talking about Earthen Vessel, just now, Earthen Vessel searches the energies, and now Gholdengo makes it rain. Yeah, that's right. We have the coin bonus. Once during your turn, you may draw a card. That's pretty nice, right? It stacks. For every Gholdengo you have, you can draw cards. Drawing cards is great. If Path is no longer in play, that miss. So you can draw cards, and also if it's in the active slot, you can draw 1 more card. So pretty much, Gholdengo in the active, you draw 2. If you have some switch outs, let's say you play some escape ropes here and there, Gholdengo, and this stacks. So if you have like 3 Gholdengos out and you get them all in the active position, you draw 6. Drawing cards is always good in the TCG, and we've seen it before with Zoroark GX, so Gholdengo already has the great ability. On top of that, it has a great attack. Make it rain 50 damage, discard any number of basic energy cards from your hand. This attack does 50 damage for each energy you discarded. You only need 1 metal energy to get it off, and you actually can discard any type of energy, so you can combine it with other energies in your deck, but we have Lady in the format to search out 4. More importantly, you have Earthen Vessel, which searches out 2, and you have Superior Energy Retrieval, which get 4 back from the discard pile. So even though it's only a 50 multiplier, chien-pao has a 60 multiplier, this only requires 1 energy to attack. So you don't need that stage 2 Baxcalibur or whatever to deal with. This can be a deck of its own. You can be using the Technical Machine Evolution to just evolve your Glimmigoos all the way into Gholdengos on the first turn going second. That could be a thing. You can combine it with the 1 prization from Crowns in it, which can be your 1. It also needs 1 energy to use its attack. So interesting for sure. This can become an archetype, and I'm very, very fond of it because it reminds me a lot of Blacephalon from Unbroken Bonds. Number 7, Techno Radar. You might think it's for Genesect. No, you are wrong. No Techno Party over here. It is going to be for future Pokemon. You can play this card only if you discard a card from hand. So another one of those effects, just like the Earthen Vessel, you have to discard a card from hand in order to use it. Search your deck for 2 future Pokemon, reveal them and put them in hand. So remember Electromagnetic Radar for lightning Pokemon? Yeah, you know that. Techno Radar will become very powerful when future Pokemon become a very powerful archetype. So we have Iron Valiant, which definitely will use that Techno Radar in that donking deck, but also Iron Hands is going to be a future Pokemon. When there's more future and ancient Pokemon releasing, Techno Radar will become better and better and better because consistency cards have always been great. Think about like Fog Crystal or more specific cards that search out specific Pokemon, they always see play. Number 6 is going to be Counter Catcher, a blast from the past. I think it was the one from Crimson Invasion the last time we saw this, right? You can actually use Boss's Orders in an item form. You might think, whoa, are we going crazy? Well, there's a limited way you can use it. It only works if you're behind in prize cards. So just like Reversal Energy, that only works when you're behind in prize cards, this is the same thing. Counter Catcher only works if you're behind in prize cards. Specific decks like stall decks, control decks, wall decks, you name it. You know decks that don't take any prize cards but just want to deck you out. Those are going to be the decks that are going to be using Counter Catcher. But other decks that fall behind could also rely on Counter Catcher. Think about Gardevoir. Now you can Iono and Counter Catcher, right? Or maybe in decks that use Irida. Oh, I'm falling behind. Now I can use Counter Catcher. So Counter Catcher, universally searchable. Also, you can find it with Pokestop. So interesting stuff for sure. And the Counter Catcher will of course be the thing that Snorlax block really prayed for, or maybe other control decks as well. Trapping Pokemon is now going to be very good with Counter Catcher back in the format. Number 5, Xatu, whatever you want to be pronouncing. It's pretty much states Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX into a 1-prize Pokemon. There we go, that's all it does. So yeah, we have its ability. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic Psychic Energy card from your hand to one of your bench Pokemon, and then you can accelerate. You actually can draw 2 more cards. So accelerate and draw 2 cards is pretty much the Underworld Door ability from Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, right? So very good. We've already seen that it works out. Now you have this as a 1-prize Pokemon. The only downside I think is like Xatu has a 100 HP. Why didn't it get 90 HP? Okay, you are protected from Radiant Greninja, I guess, but we are not able to search it out with Levelable. Luckily, Fog Crystal is still in the format, searching out the energies, and also this accelerates to any Pokemon type, unlike Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. So you can accelerate to like something like a Snorlax, you can accelerate to Iron Hands, yeah, be my guest, you can do whatever you want, accelerate to any Pokemon you want with the Xatu as it stays right now. I think that's the correct translation, by the way. If it's different, let me know in the comments. But yeah, it's like Malamar was historically good because it got it from the discard pile, this gets it from the hand but draws cards. Do we know other decks that use Psychic Energies and draws cards? Yeah, Gardevoir. It actually is going to be overshadowed a little bit by Gardevoir decks, but when Shining Arcana rotates, maybe people will try out Xatu, and you can be making a whole deck around Xatu and the big beat stick attacker, right? So let's see how that works out. Number 4 is going to be Jirachi, aka say goodbye Lost Mine Sableye. That's pretty much what it does. Prevent all damage counters from being placed on your bench Pokemon by effects of attacks used by your opponent's basic Pokemon. So pretty much it states, screw you Sableye. That's the ability. So I don't know any other Pokemon that plays damage counters, currently in the format. So maybe like Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. But yeah, the main point is clear. Iono, slap down Jirachi, and all your Pokemon on the bench will be chilling out. Unless Sablezard comes back with Cross Switchers, or like the Lost Box decks now revert to Cross Switcher because it only works when it's on the bench, right? So prevent all damage counters being placed on your bench Pokemon. So you can actually Cross Switch Jirachi, knock it out, and then do your bidding later with your spread shenanigans. So there's still ways. You can also have, of course, Cross Switch Cologne combos. You're shutting this down entirely. You Cross Switch Jirachi, you Cologne, you Sprinkle, or you can just knock out the Jirachi with the Radiant Greninja. So it's going to be a war between attack card for Lost Box and Lost Box being able to adapt to that. But big tanky decks don't care about placing down Jirachi, but like fragile 1-prize decks, think about the Zoroark Toolbox deck, will love a card like Jirachi to finally help them out against the Sprinkle shenanigans that is Sableye. So Jirachi's in the format, and I couldn't be happier because this actually is going to help out definitely in combination with Disruption. Number 3 is going to be the Future Booster Energy Capsule. Okay. The future Pokemon this card attached to has no retreat costs, and it attacks, the attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's Pokemon. Muscle Belts and Floatstone Fusion. Ha! There we go. This is the card. These cards have historically been super powerful, overplayed, and yeah, now we have this in combination in just one tool card. Free retreat, Iron Valiant just says yes. A 4 retreat, Iron Hands, say yes to the future booster energy capsule, that's right. So all the future Pokemon get free retreat and also deal 20 more damage. 20 more damage. Do they need to slap more damage? Well, yeah, this is actually very, 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 very good. And that's why I'm putting it on the number 3 slot, because every future deck will just play this. It's just an absolute must. Number 2. What can be number 2? What can be number 1? Find out. Number 2 is Professor Sada's Vitality. It is an ancient card, and it actually states, choose up to 2 of your ancient Pokemon and attach basic energy card from your discard pile to each of them. If you attach any energy in this way, draw 3 cards. So you can power up 2 ancient Pokemon and draw 3 cards. It's like Welder, but divided on 2 ancient Pokemon. And Welder saw a ridiculous amount of play. And I think Professor Sada's Vitality will do the exact same thing. For every ancient Pokemon we ever get in the future, we will be taking a look at Professor Sada. Can we combine it with this attachment in combination with Professor Sada? This can actually do miracles. As I mentioned, the Roaring Moon can now get powered up by Attach of the Turn, Dark Patch, and Professor Sada's Vitality. And then boom, you one shot with the Roaring Moon EX. Can power up the Sandy Shocks, which we didn't talk about too deeply, but there's so many great cards in the set. I had to narrow it down to 20 cards, but this is going to be a very great card in my opinion, because Welder was great. Why wasn't a Gardenia's Vigor great? Well, that's because grass Pokemon in generally are not great, but you have all different typings that you could be using it on because it works for ancient Pokemon, and there's going to be more ancient Pokemon coming shortly. Then the number 1 spot is Iron Hands. I think Jake Gerhardt will be really happy about this. Yeah, Iron Hands EX, the face of the format, or I say the hand of the format. Yeah, it's here because of Amphew very much. Yeah, they even had the the nerve to be calling it this attack name. Amphew very much, 120 damage. And if your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by any damage from this attack, take 1 more prize card. No, the 1 more prize card sentence brings me back to the ADP days. Remember Stoutland ruining Lost Box? We are here again. Lost Box is going to be crying. If you start with Lumineon V, you're going to be crying because Iron Hands can do this by turn 2. You could use Turbo Lost Box and use some Mirage Gates, so a taste of your own medicine. There we go. You could be using Electric Generator and the Miraidon deck, finding the Iron Hands through the means of Miraidon, then Electric Generator because of Arven and all that shenanigans. Powered up 1 turn, poof. Turn 1, going second, poof. You already get 2 prize cards on Ralts, Comfey, whatever, Frigibax. Talking about Frigibax, Baxcalibur can also power this up. You use Baxcalibur with the Super Cold. Water Energy, Water Energy, Water Energy. Use the Earthen Vessel that we talked about earlier. Search your deck for that Lightning Energy, attach to them. Boom! Turn 2, you are already behind in the prize trades. And there's this is an evolution format, if you haven't noticed. Charmander needs to evolve. Frigibax needs to evolve. Ralts needs to evolve. A lot of people need to... a lot of Pokemon need to evolve, right? So also known fact is that if you start with Lugia, just a lone Lugia, forget about it. 3 prize card behind with Amphew very much. Such a strong card because not only can you get rid of your humongous retreat cost because of that future shenanigans capsule, you can also boost its damage output to 140. This card, it's so splashable in that sense. You can make your deck warped around the Iron Hands. Like as mentioned, you can be playing Baxcalibur with some lightning energies. You could be playing this in Lost Box deck with Mirage Gate to power it up, and Miraidon decks will just adore a card like this because Miraidon typically had a bad matchup against Lost Box and now it becomes favorable. So let me know what you feel about Iron Hands EX. I want to hear your opinion down below. Also, let me know what you think about this video. I tried to make it as good as possible. We're already, through half an hour. We're talking about the Paradox Rift set, but this should give you a good idea of what to expect at your pre-release or when you're opening a box or when you're just going to the store to buy some Paradox Rift on November 3rd. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. Helps out in many ways to support our channel. I always appreciate it. Only takes 1 tiny second every time, so I would really appreciate it. Let me know what you thought about the wrap. People thought the wraps were done on the channel, but little they didn't know, wraps always come around. So yeah, subscribe for more daily Pokemon TCG content. You don't want to be missing this. All of this, all these funky decks that we're going to be checking out. Gholdengo, Iron Hands. People will be crying on the rank ladder, I know, but we have to test all the best decks. Yeah, anyhow, have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. I will see you guys at the little regionals. Still don't know how my perfect 60 is looking like, but this is still in the current format. So I shouldn't be worried about it in the slightest. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.